Welcome back again to writing equations of trig functions, sine and cosine from a graph. And we take a look at this example right here. We're going to write this equation. Again, this is sinusoidal because it is kind of going up and down. It's repeating itself over time. We always start, if you remember from yesterday, with the cosine graph. So we're going to write this as the cosine of theta. Now, to get the period, we hopefully remember from yesterday, we're going to count from peak to peak. So here's one peak, here's another peak. The distance between is what we call the period. And in this case, let's go and write that out. The period equals, and if we count between them, we get 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 pi over 6, which is just pi over 2. So that's our period. So the period of pi over 6, remember, we use that to get our b value by setting it equal to the equation 2 pi over b. Cross multiply, don't worry about the pi's, they just cancel, and we get b equals 12. So that's our b value. To get the amplitude again, remember we're going to draw our midline, so here's our midline. There's our midline. And we count the distance, but be careful of our increment on our y value. So first, oh man, we need to draw an x-axis here. So it looks like this is possibly our x-axis. So the midline is down here at 1, 2, 3, negative 3, but it looks like we're scaling by 4, which makes this at negative 12 for a midline. So we'll talk about that again in a second. So to get our amplitude, remember the amplitude is the distance from our peak to our midline, which is 1 tick mark, which is 4 units. So that gives us our a value of 4. Therefore, our maximum value, well, if this is at negative 12, going up 4 puts me at negative 8. Going down 4 puts me at negative 16. Our phase shift, remember this is the hard one. For cosine it's easy. Find our y-axis. It's the distance from our y-axis to our peak. Now again, I could use over here 1, 2, 3, make this 3 pi over 6 or just pi over 2, but I don't have to go anywhere here, that's just 0, so my c value here will be 0. The vertical slide, d, up, that's our midline. We already got that. We said our midline was y equals negative 12. There's our d value. Writing the equation then to get cosine, y equals our amplitude, 4, times the cosine of b, which is 12, and I'm going to get theta minus our phase shift, which was 0, which is c, minus the 12 here. And there's our first equation for cosine. Writing it for sine, remember everything stays the same except for our c value. So for sine of theta, to get c, remember we go to our origin. Remember sine normally goes up like this at the beginning. I go down on my graph, there it is, there's my midline, and I scroll over until I'm going up. See, here I'm going down, that doesn't count. This is what I want. Where is it going up at? And it's not exactly perfect, but we can estimate as 1, 2 ticks, which is 2 pi over 6, which is just pi over 3. And that would be our phase shift for sine. All right, let's do one more. Let's take a look at this one down here. Number 4, it's our parent function again. We're always going to use the cosine of theta to get our peaks. Now, it's not perfect. There it is. I'll estimate here, and that's fine. You're not going to be perfect on this, but that's okay. They're still kind of similar, the same place. To get our period, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Wow, 18 pi over 6, which is 3 pi. So this is going to repeat itself every 3 pi radians. Therefore, our period is 3 pi. We set that equal to 2 pi over b to get our b value. Pi's cancel. You can cross multiply. What we'll get is 3b equals 2. so B is just 2/3, and that's okay. We got a B. To get our amplitude, we get our midline. Oh, they gave us a nice x-axis. That's always kind of nice. So there's our midline, which is exactly the x-axis this time. Recall, our amplitude is the distance from the peak to the midline. And I count 1, 2. But again, be careful of scale factors. It kind of looks like each one is a half, so that's actually a 1. So my amplitude here is going to be 1. Our maximum value then is 1, and our minimum value is -1. Our phase shift, this is the hard one. We go from our y-axis, we measure to the peak. Doesn't have to be perfect, we're just getting the idea. There's my phase shift. Using cosine, we just encounter the peak. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4 pi over 6, which is 2 pi over 3. There's our C value. So we got A, B, and C. And now we got to get our vertical slide. That's our midline, right? Remember, that's our midline, which in this case is y equals 0. There's our D value. Writing our equation, y equals 1 cosine of 2/3 theta minus 2 pi over 3, see, A, B, C, plus D, and D is 0. You don't have to put the plus 0 there, but you know what? Doesn't hurt the problem at all. To write this in terms of sine, everything stays the same. 1 sine of 2/3, and I get theta minus, oh no, I gotta be careful, because for sine, the only thing that changes is our C value. And we may remember sine starts up here, oh, at the origin, going up. And that's what's happening here. See, it's already going up. So my C value here is 0. Minus 0 plus 0. And there's our sine value. All right, if you have any questions, remember, we're going to go over these tomorrow. If you have any questions, write them down now so you can ask them tomorrow in class, okay? Because in tomorrow in class, we're going to work some more of these for an assignment. Thank you.